Welcome back to the module on personal brand within consumer behavior. Today we're going to be talking about JOMO versus FOMO. And if you don't know what those are, don't worry about it. I want to kick off to describe what both of them are by talking a little bit about Trend Hunters Beer Fridays. So Trend Hunters Beer Fridays, first and foremost, are a time where our team gathers to talk about what we've achieved for the week today, during our week at Trend Hunter, busy working, but also what we're doing personally on the weekend. And I noticed a trend here. Half the office was doing amazing things like visiting the latest restaurant openings, pop-up shops, mermaid swim school, which is actually a thing, and even things like luxury vacations and cliffside dining. But that begs the question, if half of the office is doing cool stuff like that, what is the other half of the office doing? Well, they're staying at home with their cats, they are binge-watching Queer Eye for the Straight Guy, and they are straight up mossing. But not this sort of moss. Mossing is to express that you're simply doing nothing, whether it be by yourself or with some friends. There seems to be a tension with consumers between going out there and living the perfect Instagram-worthy life and just staying at home, mossing on your sofa. So while FOMO is the fear of missing out, JOMO, on the other hand, is the joy of missing out, also known as HAHA, happily at home, alone. Now looking at JOMO and FOMO, they have some similarities. Product category expansions are possible within both for the brands viewing this module. They also both leverage premium mediocre, but where they differ is one is all about accessibility and convenience, and the other is a little bit more exclusive. So let's first look at JOMO and how the JOMO economy is developing. Now consumers, I will put the caveat out here, are definitely multidimensional. You can't live in FOMO or JOMO alone, but it's been shown that many more consumers are choosing to stay at home rather than go out, especially younger generations. Around 70% of them spend more time at home than previous generations. Looking at this, it's changing what we're doing with our spare time, how we're communicating with others, how we're decorating, and even what we're wearing. But before I get into all of these sorts of examples, I want to look at why this shift to stay at home has occurred. Now, for some of us, we may be a little bit lazy. Maybe we don't want to put on pants or makeup, which I totally get. But for 69% of consumers, they're looking to save money and enhance their financial well-being. For 74% of consumers, they like the comfortable home environment that they've created for themselves. So that's why staying in is so attractive to them. It's also why retailers like Zara, H&M, and Madewell, fashion retailers, have gotten so strongly into the space. But it's not only fast fashion, it's also luxury retailers like Gucci getting in on the action as well. We're seeing brand new brands that we've never seen the logos of before, like Backdrop, also emerge. A millennial-targeted paintwear company that allows you to order huge paint swatches, test them out on your wall, and then order the paint directly to your doorstep. No more going into paint stores and comparing thousands of different paint swatches. They make this as stress-free and as millennial-friendly as possible. We're also seeing trends like foliage familial, where people are really taking seriously raising houseplants and bringing their nature indoors. We see this with the company The Sill, which has been incredibly successful. It's a millennial-targeted direct-to-consumer brand that delivers plants to your doorstep, because it turns out people really love plants nowadays. We've seen trending hashtags plant parenthood, plants make people happy, and not just these sorts, plant porn, and even boys with plants, an account that features, well, boys with plants. The shift is occurring for a myriad of reasons, but the top three are a shift towards wellness, not only within skincare, meditation, but also with wellness within our own homes. Plants clean our air, but they also make us happier scientifically. It's also about a connection to nature. How are we bringing the outdoors in when we're living in dense urban environments, increasingly? And lastly, it's a form of self-expression, and one that I'm personally pretty bought into. The home industry is worth $249 billion and is growing at nearly 3% per year. And that has had some dramatic impacts on the way that we see ourselves and the way that we dress. Office apparel is down 39%, and co-working spaces, by no coincidence, are up nearly the same amount. On top of that, we're working from home more, leading to a more casual work attire. It's why we see brands partnering up with celebrities like Rihanna to appeal to streetwear culture, or LVMH with Supreme, or even rapper Pharrell Williams with luxury brand Chanel. It's all part of a shift towards athleisure. Now, this has been going on for several years, but it's casual, comfortable clothing that you can wear to the gym or to run errands or just on your day-to-day. But this is now bleeding into work leisure, where we want to be casual and comfortable in our workspaces as well, whether it's at home or at a more formal office. Mizzen & Main and Kit & Ace are two brands doing a fantastic job at really targeting this market, making clothing with technical fabrics more fit for the gym than the boardroom into more traditional workwear. Now, these two images that you see up top are from Mizzen & Main, and they're actually wrinkle-free, and they're super stretchy, so they're very comfortable the entire day. Another trend we've seen is at-home escape. Consumers are staying in more, so they're bringing that escape room experience into their own homes. And we've also seen a rise in crafting due to this at-home economy as well. Those who are younger are learning crocheting and knitting at twice the rate of those older generations today. So what's the future of the stay-at-home economy? Well, we see product category expansions as consumers are inviting brands into the most intimate spaces of their lives. Accessibility and convenience is also a big one. All of the examples I've mentioned, Mizzen & Main, The Sill, Backdrop, they're all direct-to-consumer brands, and this market is growing ever more rapidly. And premium mediocre. Now let me describe what this is. So I was surprised to find out that one of the most searched things on Pinterest is tips on saving money. But people still want a more luxurious experience to feel something is customized or personalized to them. And a survey with over 30,000 consumers in 63 countries has proven that premium to most consumers is just paying about 20% more. Super doable. And that's where premium mediocre comes in. How can your brand leverage premium mediocre, and what is that? Well, premium is Veuve champagne. Luxurious champagne costs a lot and is considered very premium. Mediocre is more something like a bar rail shot that burns your throat. But premium mediocre is ordering the best wine at your local Olive Garden. Premium is business class flights. You get more legroom, you get to board early, and you get all the perks. Mediocre is economy class, but a perfect bridge between the two is premium economy, allowing you more space and allowing you to board a little bit earlier, but without all the perks and all the cost of that business class flight. Lastly, an example within fashion, which I think illustrates premium mediocre so well. Stella McCartney sells her items for thousands of dollars and is considered a luxurious brand. Mediocre would be fast fashion brands, but a premium mediocre example would be Stella McCartney's collaboration with H&M. H&M has been so successful in tapping into the premium mediocre market, pairing up with not only Stella McCartney, but hundreds of other designers to create a collection that is more aspirational for their regular consumers. Maybe they can't access that Stella McCartney price point, but they can when they do collaborate with brands like H&M. Now, the other side of the tension of JOMO is, of course, FOMO. Now, FOMO, again, is the fear of missing out, and people are still leaving their homes. Just what they're spending their money on has changed pretty drastically. One thing that really illustrates this is the fact that millennials are spending the same percentage of their income on booze, but they're drinking less. Now, why is that the case? They're spending on more premium alcohols. They want a story behind it. They want a sense of feeling behind the products they're buying and not just to get a hit or open up a beer. And this all ties into the fact that globally the luxury goods market has expanded by 6% in 2018. Now that has to do with two key factors. China, they have a rising middle class and a burgeoning economy, and travel. People are traveling, especially to Europe, more than ever. Now I'll get into China a little bit later, but I want to dive into travel first. Now tourism arrivals have grown for 7 straight years. One of the reasons why is many governments invested in tourism once the recession hit. It's the reason why a small place like Iceland can have so many tourists coming there today. But it's also because of these 3 platforms: Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram. 3 platforms that 90% of Gen Z say influence where they want to vacation and where they don't. And if you look at general vacation days for each of the generations, you can see that millennials take the cake with 35 days per year. And if you look, they actually are willing to spend $5,000 or more on each of their vacations, which has led to people even faking vacation photos. This is a real thing that happens. And the reason for this is there's a lot of pressure to keep up with the Joneses on social media. which is why there's so many different lists about the best place to travel to get that perfect Instagram shot for your followers. On top of that, we're seeing some mass uniformity in the way that we're documenting our vacations and even where some consumers are going. But the pendulum, it's beginning to shift. People want more personalized vacations, tailored to them and their unique lifestyle needs. One example I have of this is self-sufficient stay. So it's about consumers wanting to travel an eco-friendly life that they usually live on their day-to-day. It's why things like tiny homes are trending on Airbnb. We also see things like festival wellness. So this is all about mindful meditation, yoga, while on vacation. Because if that's what you do in your day-to-day, why should that stop when you travel abroad? Why can't that be the focal point of why you're traveling somewhere? When it comes to the future of FOMO, it's all about those product category expansions. Things like branded hotel, an insight we've studied where brands are creating overnight experiences to get people out of the JOMO mode and into the FOMO mode. It's a great social tool to leverage whether you're in gaming, fashion, or cosmetics. 2, premium mediocre. 40% of millennials say that they choose a holiday based on how Instagrammable it is, and that's over what the weather will be like or even how much it costs. And lastly, exclusivity and remoteness. Now, there's been pushback towards visiting places that may have a negative impact of more tourism, whether that's for the local community or for the environment. So hashtag no geotag is something that's been trending with consumers as of late. More sustainable travel, more easy on local communities, and targeting places that are maybe a little bit more remote and exclusive, but have a positive impact on that local economy instead of overwhelming it. Now that's it for our module on personal brands, but I have a few workshop questions for you to consider. How would you upgrade your product or service to make it more shareable? And if you could design a staying in experience with your brand, what would that look like?